All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get started. It is 11:10 a.m. on the 15th of April. Let me just make sure I got the right day. It is the Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we'll be talking about the pound US dollar and a lot of news related to the pound. What I'll do in addition to today, I was reviewing some trades, looking at the markets. I would actually like to review some trade setups that I think would lead to quite a good move. So let's catch that opportunity and talk about some other trade setups in addition to the pound. All right, this is a little bonus to everyone who's attending here. We've got a very good turnout today, so please, while I am rambling on now, think about questions that you might have about the pound. Think about the questions you might have that I can help you with, I can answer to help your trading get better. We've got students who I haven't seen from a very long time ago and students who I see every day, pretty online, right? So a whole range of questions. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Put it in the chat on the site there, type it up. Or if you are too lazy to type, put up your hand. One of the guys will unmute you, and also then you can ask your questions verbally. We have Daniel. Daniel, give me a wave. All right, we have Chinwei there as well. We have Kenneth in the Taj Mahal. Right, he and his wacky. Kenneth is going to be known for all his wacky backgrounds. Jonathan looks like he just woke up. Jonathan's there. All right, so these guys are the backbone of LCMS traders and Forex Briefcase. They do all the support and analysis in the Traders Club in the Forex Trading Asia. Daniel fires out all the signals and analysis in the trade signals and Telegram as well. So these are the guys that will be helping you through your whole trading journey, and also any assistance that you might need in terms of your trading or your managed account or your analysis. Reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be quite happy to help you. Give me a nod if you agree, the four of you. Yeah, right. So everyone's happy. Let's get started. First thing we're going to look at is the pound US dollar. How I want to cover these sessions is I'll look at the longer time frame, right? On the daily chart. It's not what I normally do for my students, but what I look at is a longer time frame so that investors as well can have a good view of where the market is likely to head. And then after that, I will look into the smaller time frames for the traders in us who want to catch that income, that cash flow, that interim moves while they are trading the market in either the intraday or in the medium term. Okay, so just a recap. Today, Wednesday, is pound. Tomorrow is yen, all the US yen, pound yen, euro yen, and also gold. So that's the reserve currency, reserve commodity day. On Friday, we look at oil, WTI, and CAD. So that's going to be quite interesting because of the deal we recently had. On Monday, it's Aussie and the Kiwi. On Tuesday, yesterday, we looked at the euro. So what you will see is while we talk about all this on a daily basis, I'll also give you updates of how the trades have played out, how the positions that we're looking at have played out as well. So let's start looking at charts because I've rambled on a bit too long. Now give me a thumbs up if you can see my chart here. All right, awesome. Pound US dollar, this is the pound US dollar on a daily chart. We looked at this last week. That's why you see a little bit of a pink squiggly lines there. So last week on the smaller time frame, we were expecting, I'll show you the smaller time frame first. We were talking about it moving across, maybe slightly downwards to eventually ending the week at about that point. It pretty much did what we expected. It went to the point where we highlighted that it would go to, didn't really move across as much. It went pretty much step by step up towards that point. One thing I want to, this is a very good example I want to show you, is recently we've actually seen the market moving. This is quite a consistent pattern that we've seen the market moving towards. a big jump before a quiet move, and then a big step up again before a quiet move, and a big step up again. What you see now in the market, especially with the higher volatility, is we're sitting there waiting for a lot of movements. So a lot of quiet, a lot of consolidations before a big step up. Consolidations move across before a big step up. So it's very important to be right now following the trend, being very patient. You know, your shorter term trades are going to not really play out very well. You know, look to the medium term or to the slightly longer term. Okay. So going back into the daily chart, remember this is daily chart for the longer term investors. What are we looking at in the market? The pound US dollar, what has it been doing? Right, it has actually been sitting across. In March, it had that big drop because of the virus, because of all the economic news, the virus-led economic news resulting in a weaker pound. It dropped quite sharply. We saw a bounce back as we saw the US getting a bit weaker as well, because of the virus. Right now, we see that the pound has moved off the 1.21 level, trying to move towards the 1.28 level, right? Is it going to get there? It is about 180, 190 pips away from the 1.28 level. I actually do believe that we could see the pound in the medium term move up towards that level, right? Move up towards that level, testing that resistance level before possibly moving back down again. Okay, so in the medium to longer term, I'm looking at a continuation of that move upwards before a possible rejection of that level coming down. So I wouldn't actually be betting so much against the pound coming back down right now, because of the momentum it has since the end of March to now. A couple of weeks, it's actually gone up, you know, a good 1,000 over pips already. So quite a significant bounce back up. Right now, looking at the indicators, looking at the price action, we see that although my fast MACD here has been squeezing, you know, it hasn't really shown any clear direction of a possible move downwards. That's also one of the reasons why I'm a bit hesitant on shouting out that it's possibly going to move down. The slower MACD is still trying to move up. All right, so we see that there are possible moves slightly higher up before a possible rejection downwards. We need to see what happens at that level for that possible rejection downwards. Does it make sense to you at this point? Do you have any questions? I'm making a mental note to keep checking back on with everyone whether you got any questions. Anyone, any questions? Anyone? All happy? I can't seem to get my chat box up. Nope, all good. All right. So we looked at the pound on the daily time frame. Let's look at the pound on the H4. All right. So on the H4, we again see very good consolidations before moves upwards. We see that consolidating now possibly before, you know, a slight move upwards. It probably wouldn't go all the way, maybe about 120 before turning back down. On a smaller time frame, we do see some possible downward moves, but although I see a possible indication of a downward move here, I do anticipate that might not be a downward move. It might be more like just a horizontal move, slight downward horizontal move with a bit of an upward move because of what's going to happen for the US data as well. All right. So, you know, you all have gotten that idea. You know what I'm going on to next. With every move, there needs to be triggers, right? I don't like thinking, or I prefer not to think about movements just because of what happens on the charts. I want to think about movements because of triggers. What could trigger this move upwards, or what could trigger a possible move downwards? Let's look at the, oops, what was that? Let's look at the charts. Let's look at the news. Can you see my Forex Factory right now? All right, got a couple of head nods. So Forex Factory right now, I'm looking at today, what is the possible news happening? Not much for pound. Not much news for the UK, coming from the UK, not much news for the pound. Nothing much happening today until 8:30 p.m. We spoke about this yesterday. News coming from the US, the retail sales number. Again, the forecasts have not changed. Oh, actually, it's changed a little bit. I think that was the retail sales was -5%. Today is -4.9%. It was -0.4%. Retail sales -8% expected. Previously was -0.5%. So what I actually see here is that we could see, as what we spoke about yesterday, possible bad news coming from the US, possible even worse than expected news coming from the US. Retail sales is an indication of consumer confidence, right? You're not going to be spending that much if you're not working. You're not going to be spending that much if you're uncertain about your future outlook in terms of the economics and in terms of your income. So retail sales is most likely going to be affected to a significant degree as well. So from my view, I actually do believe that -8 is possible. We could even see worse than -8 or even a -7. Anything more significant than -0.5, we're going to see a weakening of the US dollar, right? So tonight at 8:30, that's what I'll be paying attention to. I'll be looking at that news. I'll be trying to look for that weakening in the US dollar. Given a weakening in the US dollar, let me bring back my charts. So, oops, who just drew a line there? Did I just draw that line? Someone drew a line. All right, let me come back to that question. IVR's US retail sales news likely to see a weakening of US, and hence pound US dollar is likely to move upwards, partly because of that. That's correct, Ivy. Exactly, just took the words out of my mouth, right? So we could see that it's going to sit there a little bit quietly before a move upwards. So if I was trying to be a bit more accurate with my lines, I actually think that that might be the case, because this is an H4 chart. So a couple more candles before the 8:30 news, we could see that move upwards to that level, and then we'll see it test that resistance before a possible move downwards or a break upwards. So at this point, I'll be looking for that kind of trade outlook. Any other questions coming from anyone else? Nope, nope. All right. So that's a good question from Ivy, a good summary from Ivy. Okay, so looking at that trade outlook. Do I see someone typing? No. Okay. One thing I want to do in addition to the H4 chart here is I want to look at H1 as well, just to give you a better outlook or a better view of what's likely to happen. More specifically, that could happen there. So we actually see it sitting slightly across before a possible move upwards. If you haven't got any questions, I'll give you a minute. If you haven't got any questions on the pound US dollar, I want to run through a couple of other trade setups with you on the other currency pairs. Give me a thumbs, give me a hands up if you have any questions about the pound US dollar at this point. Everyone is happy. Everyone looks very serious, so I guess you're happy. All right, So looking at a couple more of other trades, I was looking at the Aussie. Aussie right now, how do I get rid of this line? Can't get rid of this line. All right, Aussie right now is going to be quite interesting. We see it. Is Scott still online? Scott's still there. Scott's been trading it up, right? So you've been making quite a good trade upwards towards that resistance. I believe is at about 0.6475. We pretty much have that similar line there about. It's been, if I zoom it in a little bit for you, it's been testing that point. We haven't got a rejection yet, but it looks like there might be some indication of a rejection of that level. So something to consider is, a good 100 pips stop loss with a good 200 pips take profit. That could be a possible counter trend trade that you might want to consider on the H4. I wanted to point that out quite quickly because I think that might be something quite interesting, but I would still wait for the news tonight because that could throw the US dollar into the view here. We could see a good move upwards before rejection downwards again. So something to consider at this point, a possible counter trend trade for the Aussie. Looking at the Kiwi again, back to the Kiwi, we've got, Kiwi has tested that resistance line at 0.6048, 0.65. So that level, if we do see that rejection, again, I will be quite interested to look at a bit of a 100-something pip risk for a good, 100, 200 pip profit, or even a 300 over pip profit as well. So, there are quite good setups coming in. It's slightly medium term, not such a short term trade. So, and it's higher risk, okay? I want to put a disclaimer out there. These are slightly higher risk trades because they're going to be counter trends. They are coming off resistance or breaking through support resistance levels. So we could see that volatility, we could see that movements. You might even get fake stopped out before it continues moves downwards. So be a little bit, if you want to take this trade, make sure you have that profit margin in there to sustain a potential loss, and also be little bit more generous with your stop loss level. So maybe size down, put your stop loss a little bit higher so that you are able to withstand any possible price fluctuations as well. Okay, so things to consider about the euro we spoke about yesterday. So I actually thought this was a trade that could play out quite interesting. Hasn't really moved according to what I expected. So yesterday I spoke about the euro breaking out of this zone before possibly moving towards the 1.1153 level. We saw it breaking out. So I highlighted that in the Traders Club as well, breaking out of that area before possibly moving higher. Still a possible trade. How many of you actually did get into this euro trade? I shared this over and over in the webinar and also in the Traders Club. How many of you actually did get into that trade? Ivy got into it. Roy got into it. He sent it to me privately. A couple of more of you got into that trade. Well, Ivy, even if it's a demo account, it's still a practice, right? So there's a lot of you who might be trading on live or demo accounts right now. While we're sitting at home, it's really time to practice, time to get back into trading. So 20 pips profit. These are trades that we want to practice analyzing and identifying as well. So I'm glad quite a handful of you have got into those trades. Anything else? It was bouncing in that range, then broke out a bit. Yes, Roy, it was bouncing in that range and then it broke out. So at this point, I think that it might sit there for a while before continuing back up again. Let's keep an eye on that. We signaled out a pound, Daniel signaled out a euro pound trade yesterday. Didn't really play out we were trying to catch an early move in that trade, but then we got stopped out with the volatility. So, take note of the signals as a indication, as an awareness, rather than in addition to just telling you what to do. Look at it as, hey, this is a trade that we are looking at, something to think about. Do you have anything to add, Daniel? I see you perked up your interest once I talked about the euro pound. Anything to add? You gotta unmute yourself if you want to add anything.
Yeah, actually for the euro pound itself, actually was a valid, it's really a valid trade and signal that I would have done. Anyway, I did. Anyway, but you have to because of the volatility, I think you have to look at the monitor a little bit of the trade itself. I think a few of the students as well did reply that they saw it went out of they came out of their own rules, like especially when we discussed of the Bollinger Band. When you go out very strongly, you have to consider whether to get out or not, and some of them did. So I'm glad that it didn't hit the PT1, but it's still a valid trade to take.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Daniel. Yep. So just make sure you're on the trade signals as well in the Telegram group. I'm going to launch another poll. We did this yesterday, and since I have the poll there, I want you to launch the poll. Right, so you'll see a poll coming up. Tell me, where did you find out about this webinar from? Whether it's Facebook postings, Telegram groups, or Traders Club, or whether a friend told you about it and then you decided to click onto it. I'm hoping to see more friends sharing about this webinar, and also getting more people involved in trading. Right, so while we have that running, just keep clicking away. I hope everyone will participate. 23 of you out of 36 of you have joined into this poll right now. Let's make it 36 out of 36. Okay, so as that goes on, let me share with you a bit about what we do here. So Traders Club, how many of you are in Traders Club at the moment? Wait, let me just, I can't see. Let me just minimize a few screens before I. All right. Okay, don't pay attention to my Facebook. Look at Traders Club. Can you see the Traders Club on Facebook? Yes? Good. Thanks for that. Kenneth, you're the only one responding to me at this point in time. I will talk to Kenneth then. Right, so go search for Traders Club on Facebook. This is where we share a lot of our trade analysis. We share, well, you see the currency call, what we're doing today right now. This was the trade that Daniel was talking about, was signaled out, the euro pound, where we were looking to sell, and the different price levels. So you get that information on the Telegram group. That's free. But what you don't get in Telegram group is Daniel's analysis of why he got into the trade. That sequential method and system of why you get into a trade, that logic behind that signal. So not only do we tell you what to trade, we tell you why we're entering that trade, when to get out of a trade. Whether it's profit or loss, we tell you the analysis behind it as well. So students are sharing a lot of information there, sharing. Daniel even shares his potential trade ideas, giving you a bit of a heads up before that signal even comes out. So getting you aware if you are trading. We have I do a follow-up of the trades, of the analysis that I do on a daily basis, more signals. We have polls running, currency calls. We have watch lists to make sure you, if you are trading, which ones to pay attention to. I like, let me find the one that I really like. This one where, before we do any webinars, I post up in the group, especially to this group, telling everyone in there to say, hey, if you have any specific trading questions that you want me to address, we dedicate sections of it to address our club members' trading questions so that I can help you answer your questions and to help you take your trading to a higher profitable level. All right. So if you want to find out more about the Traders Club, well, you can either go straight away to Facebook, type in LCMS Traders Club and join from there, or you can head to lcms.com.sg/traders-s-club. You know, the link is there. I'm sure Chinwe is going to put that link in the chat for you. You can find out what you get, all the trade signals, all the information, chart analysis, watch list, Q&A, information, how much it costs, what it does, what it's going to do for you. You know, click join now and then you're in, right? So that's where the Traders Club is. We're going to do that. All right. Oops. Okay. So if you have any questions, I'm open to questions right now. Any questions? Any questions? Everyone's happy? Day trade versus evening trade. Roy has a very cryptic question. He's got 4 words, well, 5 words. Day trade versus evening trade. I'm anticipating that you're asking me, should we be trading during the day or during the evening? As right now, okay, so before I answer that question, I also want to give you a bit of background before I answer that question. Is usually I always encourage traders to have that flexibility. So that one strategy, having that one strategy and thinking it works all the time is not going to make you profitable, right? Having a strategy that you're going to be flexible with, you know, having a strategy that you will trade, you can use based on different time frames, different market conditions, is going to be the one that makes you profitable. So at this current point in time, I would say that we would spend our days during the daytime, looking for short-term trades or looking for setups to the evening trades. So spend your days looking for trade setups. Evenings is when you're going to see a bit more movement. So if you try to force trades out during the day, that's possibly where you see a bit of problems because you're trying to force trades out. Okay, good, Roy. Anyone else? We've got 41 people in this call, and I've only got Roy bombarding me with questions. I need more questions from everyone else. Anyone? Right, 53% of you are coming from Telegram. These are people that, you know, I probably haven't spent much time talking to. So people from Telegram, any questions that you're looking to ask? What do you see in gold? Well, Roy, we're talking about, oh no, actually not Roy. Kawai, we're looking at gold tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is yen and gold. So make sure you come in for tomorrow's session. I will tell you what I see for gold tomorrow. Okay, for myself, I'm putting in pending orders. So Sujie asked pending orders. This should not matter if I enter during day. Hey, pending orders is a great way to be trading at this point right now because you're looking at trade setups. I know Sujie is one of the busiest person I've ever met, one of the busiest people I've ever met. He's been my student since 2012, if I'm not wrong, 2014, if I'm not wrong, and I've probably seen him only a handful of times. So he's very busy. If you're very busy putting pending orders, that tells you that pretty much puts an order of where you want to get into a trade. If price gets to that point, it gets you into a trade straight away, so you don't have to be watching your chart. At this point, it could be a very good way to trade, but you have to be a little bit more generous with your stop loss because it might hit your order straight away, and then that volatility could stop you out. So I would, if you're going to do a pending order, I would size down a little bit and be a bit more generous with your stop loss. Okay. Daniel is helping Derek ask a question. I read the news that the UK may be extending the lockdown while Euro countries are starting to talk about easing. the lockdown measures, it will possibly affect this trade setup and cause the euro to strengthen in this case. Yes, the UK might be extending their lockdown period, right? Well, will that mean that, and while the euros are starting to ease the lockdown, will that mean that euro is likely to do better? I don't actually think so much in that sense, because we might still see the euro becoming weak, because fundamentally we haven't seen that much impact of the coming from the virus on the euro. So we are still yet to see that economic downside, or that significant economic downside in terms of the euro. So I would think that it's a bit too early to think that the euro is likely to strengthen, right? It might actually be the case where euro sits there not moving, euro sits there quite quietly before while the pound weakens as well. So that might be the case, which will make euro pound actually more interesting in that sense. Now I'll talk about that a little bit. I think that needs a bit of time to develop. So right now it might be a little bit too early to get into that kind of thought. Any other questions? All right, so while we're waiting for a few more questions there, this video will be uploaded onto YouTube pretty much straight away after we finish this session. Just compile a few things and then put it up. So if you like the video, if you like this webinar, please feel free to share this video, right? I'm not going to do the whole click, like, share thing. Share this video, share that link, and then also so that we can get more people into this, asking more questions. Later CAD interest rate cut. Will US CAD up? I'll be talking about US CAD on Friday, but because there's a news coming out, let me do that quite quickly for you. All right, so we're looking at, we don't actually think that the US CAD, the CAD is going to cut rates. So it's quite unlikely, well, I feel that it's a bit unlikely that we could see rates being cut at this point. What I would do is I'll pay a bit more attention towards the rate statement to look for any indication of future cuts or any monetary policy actions that the Bank of Canada might be taking. So I wouldn't really jump into that idea that they're going to cut and to get into that US CAD trade. Right now, US CAD is still going to be heavily driven by the oil prices and the agreements in oil as well. All right. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. Any more questions? No. Okay, so if I don't get any more questions, we'll come to a quick, let me see what time, we'll come to a quick close of this webinar. If you have any other questions, people in the Traders Club, I'll be posting it in the group. Put it in the comments. I'll be quite happy to reply to you. I'm sitting on my computer all day. And then if those of you who are not in the Traders Club, well, join the Traders Club. It's quite simple, right? In addition to that, please take a selfie right now. Everyone, pick up your phone, take a selfie right now, post it on Facebook, tell everyone that you're on this webinar call, and tag me, add me as a friend, tag me, and then I'll look forward to seeing more of you at this daily currency call. All right, I don't see every one of you picking up your phone. Come on. Louis, pick up your phone. Ty, pick up your phone. Robbie's finally picked up his phone. Kim Hong, pick up your phone. Roy, pick up your phone. Awesome. Okay, So yeah, I know Ivy said she sent me pictures. Now I want more pictures. Okay. All right. So I will see all of you tomorrow. 11 o'clock, same time, same place. I might try and figure out a better background. Did you like this background? Thumbs up if you did. All right, awesome. Okay, so take care now. Trade safe, trade well. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.